Hi you guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Sage Rose, but my friends call me Gigi. You can call me Sage Rose, Sage, Gigi, whatever you think my vibe is to you, you can call me that. I have not posted a video in God knows how long. I think it's been like 9 days and I'm so freaking sorry. I've been wanting to film. I've had so many scripts written and the work was just accumulating up and I wasn't executing my plans, but I finally have the time now to do so. I just came back from being home last week and I guess I was just like recalibrating, I guess you can say. I was recalibrating to being back in SoCal. And yeah, I'm currently in my best friend's room filming this video, so I hope you enjoy the layout and her space because I think it's very beautiful. And as for why I haven't been posting as much too, yes, I had all these scripts written and I was going to film other videos before this one, but lately I have been feeling so doubtful of myself, so scared of failure, so scared that like what I'm doing is for nothing. Honestly, not the best kind of mind space to be in, and I just did not want to create out of feeling like that. Like seriously, I wanted to make something that you could feel was authentic and you could feel was like, oh, she really wanted to do this. Because I really think that the way that you're feeling internally really reflects how you present to the outside world. And so I just didn't want to create from a space of being like really doubtful of myself and feeling really down. And yeah, I decided to wait. I took a break from posting on my other accounts as well. But yeah, as I was saying, I have been feeling like I've been in a little bit of a funk lately. I've been consistently posting my videos on YouTube, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, literally everywhere that I am active on. And I was just kind of feeling a little bit down and discouraged because I was like, wow, I feel like I'm not getting the recognition that I thought that I would get. Ugh, yeah. I know, such a first world problem. Like seriously, I'm kind of disappointed in myself for even like uttering those words. But I'm also not gonna lie and say and sit up here and say that it hasn't affected me at all because it has. It has taken a little bit of a toll on my confidence and my self-trust and my self-belief and my self-concept. And I think part of the reason that this has bothered me so much is because it's kind of making me feel like I'm failing. And what's so funny is I know that I don't create these videos purely for millions of likes and views. Otherwise, I wouldn't create them because I don't have that. Like, obviously, would I enjoy that? Yes, I would. But when I actually think about why I like doing this, it's not about a specific number. It's not about reaching a certain milestone, you know? I like writing. I like talking about experiences and trying to put them into words and figuring myself out and helping other people figure themselves out. I like filming. I like having this creative outlet. And I really like when somebody watches what I make and they say, wow, I've been feeling this way too, or I've been looking for someone to put this into words, or I just like to be a supportive shoulder for people to lean on. And that one is probably one of my favorite parts of creating. So consciously, I know that. I know why I'm doing this. I just think my subconscious hasn't fully caught up to that because part of me is still thinking like, okay, well, what if this doesn't work out? What if none of this works? What if you're putting all of this effort into something and you actually don't go anywhere? And that has made me think a lot about failure because honestly, like, what a beautiful opportunity it is to have something to even fail at. Like, seriously, to be able to say I failed at something means that you cared enough about it to even try. And I think that's kind of beautiful, but obviously, when you're inside of it, it does not feel as beautiful. And that is what I want to talk about today. How do we actually stop being afraid of failure? Because I think that the fear of it actually stops us and prevents us from so many things. It can stop you from applying for a job that you really want. It can stop you from starting something. It can stop you from posting your work. It can stop you from telling somebody how you feel. It can stop you from showing people something that you're interested in because you start thinking to yourself, well, what if I'm not actually good at it? And when we say that we're afraid of failure, I think what we usually mean is, I'm afraid that I will not get the outcome that I want. That's really what failure is in a lot of these situations. You wanted one outcome and reality gave you another. And I think where it starts getting complicated is that when we don't get the outcome that we wanted, we don't just experience it as, damn, this didn't work. Simple as that. But we start to feel like we lost something. Maybe we lost an actual opportunity. Maybe we lost a job. Maybe we lost a relationship. Maybe we got rejected by somebody. But sometimes it feels like we lost something within ourselves too, outside of whatever we lost in the physical. Our dignity, our confidence, our self respect, our value. Because somehow this didn't work turns into, well, maybe I don't work. And I think that is really where failure starts becoming so scary because we don't only use it as information about what happened, but we start to use it as information about who we are. Let's say you apply for a job and you don't get it. The actual fact is, I didn't get the job. That's it. That's all you know. But our brains are so dramatic, and suddenly it becomes a plethora of things. It becomes, I'm not good enough. I have no direction. Everybody else is ahead of me. Maybe I'm not as capable as I thought I was. Maybe I'm never going to get to where I want to go. And suddenly, one event has turned into an entire character analysis, and you are picking yourself apart. One outcome has become an explanation for your entire life. And I think that's where we have to start separating what happened versus what that actually means about me. Because those are not always the same thing. And I really applaud all of my optimistic people out there. I consider myself to be an optimist, but there are some times where some things kind of trigger me into becoming a little bit more pessimistic than usual. Also, I think that's why failure messes with our sense of control so much. As people, we really like certainty, we like patterns, we like being able to say, if I do this, then this happens. We like to go from point A to point B and everything be smooth sailing. And life is unfortunately not like that. You can work really hard at something and still not get it. You can be very qualified for something and still get rejected. You can post something that you think is amazing and it gets 0 views. You can tell somebody how you feel and they may not feel the same way. You can do everything right and still get an outcome that you didn't want. And that is so scary because it reminds you that there are so many things that are outside of your control. But I actually think one of the ways we become less afraid of failure is by stopping this obsession with convincing ourselves that we are definitely going to succeed. And I know that sounds kind of harsh, but the reality is we don't actually know that. We don't actually know if we are going to succeed. And I don't necessarily think confidence always means I know this will work. Because, I mean, you can have that belief, like in the long term, like what I'm doing is not for nothing. But in these instances, fearing failure, I think that confidence is more so like, I know that if it doesn't, I'll be okay. I'll be okay if this doesn't work. And that feels a lot more sustainable to me. Because if my confidence only exists when I'm getting the outcome that I want, then the second that reality shows me what I don't want to see, then that confidence suddenly, poof, disappears. But if I trust myself enough to say, I'm going to try this, I really hope it works, and if it doesn't, I'll deal with that when I get there. Now, failure does not have that much power over me. I can want something without needing the outcome to prove something about who I am. And I know people always say failure is a lesson, the learning is in the struggle, this, that, and the third. And sometimes when you're actually disappointed, hearing that makes you want to be like, okay, you can shut up now because, like, I already know this, I already know this tea. Because sometimes you don't always want a lesson. Sometimes you just wanted that thing. Sometimes you don't want redirection, you want the job, the opportunity, the relationship. You wanted the video to do well. And I think that we are allowed to admit that. Failure can suck really bad. You are allowed to be disappointed. But I do think there is truth to the idea that failure gives you information. And I think I like thinking about it more as information than I do like some huge spiritual lesson that has been divinely orchestrated and designed for me. Because sometimes the information is I need to practice more. Sometimes it's I need to change my approach. Sometimes it's this isn't actually what I want. Sometimes it's I did everything I could and it just still didn't work. And sometimes the information is literally just that attempt didn't work. That's it. You don't always need to turn it into something deeper, but what you definitely don't need to turn it into is I'm a failure. Because information is not identity. And I've had to learn how to do this with creating content, with creating videos. When I first started posting videos, I was freaking terrified. Like, no shade. I remember my first video that I filmed, it was like on a whim. I was like, whoa, like I've never been like vulnerable like this on the internet before. I've never really spoken my mind on the internet before. I'm like usually a thirst trap kind of girl. You can't really tell who I am based on who like scrolling and seeing my page. Like you don't really know shit about me. And I remember thinking, what if this doesn't do well? What if this video does not get any traction, does not get any recognition, and I'm just sitting here looking like a fool? No shade. But honestly, I don't even think that was the full fear. Like, that wasn't the entirety of it. I think part of what I was afraid of is letting people see me try. Like, there's something very vulnerable about publicly caring about something, and we are also in like a nonchalant epidemic. So it's really scary out here to even think about caring, to even have an ounce of care for something that you do. And now I'm letting people, watch this sort of effort that I'm putting into something. And that is really daunting and scary to me. No shade. Like, it's still a little bit scary to me. They can watch you say, hey, I really care about this and I want this to become something. And they can also watch if it doesn't immediately work. And for some reason, I think that we've made it collectively, we've made this feel embarrassing. Like if somebody starts a business and it doesn't take off immediately, they're embarrassed. If somebody posts music and it doesn't go viral, they're embarrassed. If somebody starts making content and it's getting 200 views, they're embarrassed. And I'm not saying that's for everyone, but I'm saying that there are people out there that have that feeling of like kind of being ashamed of like wanting to put your foot in the door, wanting to walk through that doorway. But I started asking myself, why is it embarrassing? Like, genuinely, why should I be embarrassed that I believed in myself enough to try something? If anything, I think it is far more interesting to be somebody who is willing to publicly try than to be somebody who is waiting until success is guaranteed before they actually start to participate in their life. Because success is never guaranteed, okay? And this reminded me of something else that had happened to me at the beginning of the summer. I was supposed to be working this internship for a construction company, and I didn't get the job. And I thought I was going to get the job because I had worked in construction for the last 2 summers. I did another summer internship. So I was really expecting that I was going to get the job. And before I found out, I was so nervous. I genuinely kept thinking about hearing back from them and them telling me exactly what I did not want to hear. And then guess what? They told me exactly what I did not want to hear. I didn't get the job. I didn't get the job. No shade. And immediately I started spiraling. Like, I started thinking to myself, I have no direction. My future is compromised. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I going to do this summer? And looking back, I'm like, girl, you did not get one internship. That was the event, and everything else was the story that I had created in my freaking head. And eventually that feeling passed because feelings change. What did Party Next Door say? Things change, people change, feelings change too, okay? And that shit is so fucking real. I did not need to turn that disappointment that I was feeling in that moment into a permanent conclusion about me or about my future. And I think that's really important because when we're in the middle of failure, that feeling is so loud. Failure screams at you at the top of its lungs. It's like, see, this is proof. You're not as good as you thought you were. You were delusional, you're behind. And success almost does the complete opposite. Success goes, see, you're amazing. You knew that you could do it. And I don't really like either of those things, having so much control over my self image, to be honest. Because if success makes me feel valuable, then failure also has the power to make me feel worthless. And I just don't want my sense of self to swing so dramatically based on an outcome. I want to be able to say, I'm proud of myself when I succeed, and also I'm still myself when I fail. And comparison makes this all just so much freaking worse because sometimes it's not even just I failed. It becomes I failed while they succeeded. And now you're looking at someone else like, well, what do they have that I don't? Why are they farther ahead? Why is it working for them? And I think that we are forgetting that we are comparing two completely different lives. You don't know how many times that person failed before you saw them succeed. You don't know what opportunities they had. You don't know what setbacks they had. You don't know what sacrifices they had to make. You don't know what their journey looked like before you became aware of them. And their success does not explain your failure. Just because someone is doing well does not automatically mean that you are doing badly. And I think that's one of the hardest things to remember when you are feeling discouraged because your brain wants evidence. And if you already feel like a failure, you can look around and try to find evidence for that story everywhere else. Look at this person. Look at how many views they're getting. Look at how much money they're making. Look at where they're at in life. But all you're doing is taking someone else's life and using it as evidence against your own. And that is just not fair to you. So I don't think not fearing failure means that you genuinely get to a point where you don't care whether things work out. Because, in all honesty, I care. Okay? I care a lot. I care about what I create. I care about my future. I care about success. I care about the opportunities that I want. I'm not trying to become someone who's just like, well, whatever happens, happens. No, I have goals. I want things. But I think the difference is learning how to want something without believing that not getting it will destroy something inside of you. Because there is no version of trying where you only expose yourself to the possibility of success. If I want opportunity, I have to accept uncertainty. If I want to create, I have to accept that sometimes what I create won't be received in the way that I had hoped. If I want to love people, I have to accept that sometimes relationships will end. If I want to apply for things, I have to accept rejection. If I want to live a life where I actually participate, then sometimes I'm going to fail. The admission price for possibility is uncertainty. And I think avoiding failure sounds safe until you realize what else you're actually avoiding. You're avoiding the opportunity to succeed too. You're avoiding new information. You're avoiding experiences. You're avoiding becoming somebody you couldn't have become if you chose to stay comfortable. And going back to where I started with this video, yeah, I've been feeling pretty discouraged about creating content. I've been feeling like maybe I am failing. And I'm not going to pretend that telling myself all of this makes me immune to those feelings, because it doesn't. I might upload something tomorrow and feel upset or disappointed that it didn't do well. But I think the important part is what I do with that feeling. Do I let it become, this means that I'm not meant to do this? Or do I go, okay, I'm disappointed. What does this actually tell me? Maybe I need to change something. Maybe I need to learn more. Maybe I just need to keep going. Maybe I need to take a break. Maybe nothing needs to change at all and I just need to give it time. But whatever the answer is, I don't need to make it the answer to who am I? And I think that's what it all boils down to for me. Failure gets to tell you what happened. It gets to give you information. It can redirect you. It can humble you. It can make you reconsider something. It can teach you. It can disappoint you. But it does not get to tell you who you are, okay? And maybe the way to stop fearing failure isn't by convincing yourself that you're always going to succeed. Maybe it's knowing if I fail, I'll still have myself. I can be disappointed without abandoning myself. I can be embarrassed and keep going. I can get rejected and still know my value. I can change direction without deciding that the first direction was a waste. I can lose something without turning that loss into proof that I am lacking. And maybe that's enough. Maybe courage isn't knowing that it's going to work. Maybe courage is deciding that not knowing is not going to stop you from trying. But yeah, you guys, I hope you enjoyed that one. This is for all of my people out there who are afraid of trying something because they're afraid that it won't work out. And like I said, I think that stops us a lot from starting certain things. Like, I think about it, when I was a kid, I started this exact YouTube channel. I used to post consistently as a kid, no shade. Like, I would post for my little 10 subscribers and I loved it, and I didn't care. Like, I did not care that my videos did not do well. I did not care if I got a mean comment. Well, I mean, I still don't care if I get mean comments, but like, I have found that as I get older, I've become so much more critical of myself and through the lens of like other people. And I hate feeling like that. I really do. I do not like feeling like I'm embarrassing myself for doing something that I care about, for trying something new, you know? And so I don't want anyone else to feel ashamed or feel fearful of trying something because they're scared that they will fail. Because in all honesty, like, yeah, I've been in a little bit of a rut with my self-doubt and like fearing failure. I honestly was like, am I even gonna come back to this? But you know what? I did come back to this because it's what I love to do, and I'm not gonna let one feeling of like, oh, you got no fucking views. Like, I realized I was feeling so fucking sorry for myself. And I was like, ooh, cut the fucking cameras, because I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't like to feel sorry for myself. I don't ever want to feel like I'm less worthy because of something that has happened to me. Let alone for it to be because I got like fucking 200 views on a video. What the fuck? That does not matter. Okay? That does not matter. What matters is that I show up for myself and I put my foot in the door. Because at the end of the day, if you have a goal, baby, you are embarking on a journey, okay? You failing at something, that's part of the journey. Please don't forget that. Failing does not mean that you did not reach your destination. It means that you may have took a wrong turn, and that's okay too. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and like I said, I have a lot more video ideas and scripts that I've already like finished and completed, and yeah, a bunch of more ideas that I want to get to talking about on here. I also want to do more like vloggy kind of videos. Not necessarily like I'm going to show you everything that I freaking do, but maybe like throughout the week or something, you know? Also, I have been getting comments on like my TikTok, and I got a comment on here too about my lip combo and my makeup routine. So I would love to do either like a think piece essay get ready with me, or just like a separate kind of video of just a makeup tutorial. Because honestly, my makeup tutorial, my makeup routine, that's more accurate. My makeup routine is really affordable. So if you're like, I don't like spending hella money on the makeup, maybe I got you. I'm a drugstore makeup girl down. I don't forget my roots. I don't forget my LA girl. I don't forget my Maybelline. I don't forget my Fit Me powder. Like, I don't forget my NYX lip combo. Like, I promise you, it does not cost a lot to look this good, okay? But anyways, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And yes, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Love you.